friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're doing a little bit of cozy baking on this cold winter's day. I'm making a brown sugar banana bread. It is moist and fluffy and absolutely irresistible. So what do you say? Let's use up some of these overripe bananas and get baking. This banana bread recipe is super quick and easy, and it uses the quick bread method, which is mixing up your dry ingredients, mixing up your wet ingredients, then folding them together and baking them. The first thing we're going to do is get our dry ingredients together. I just have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and all the ingredients will be in the description, so you can get the recipe there. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. And I also have a heaping half teaspoon of cinnamon. I like cinnamon in my banana bread. And I also have half a teaspoon of salt. So just whisk that together so that all that baking powder, baking soda, and salt and cinnamon are well distributed within the flour. And then you can just set that aside. So the next thing we have are 3 bananas that aren't looking their best. I actually like to make my banana bread when my bananas are slightly riper than this, but these are ready to go. You can still use them at this stage when they're nice and speckled and very, very ripe. So just take them out of their peelings and put them in a bowl. Into the compost with these, but take the stickers off first. Now I've got my bananas in my bowl, and I'm just going to mash them up with the back of a fork. And the riper your bananas are, the softer they'll be, and this job will be very easy. The nice thing about this recipe is that you don't have to get out the mixer. In fact, you'll get better results without a mixer, because a mixer tends to over-process quick breads, and you run the risk of having too much gluten development, and it'll result in, sort of a tougher, rubbery bread. So always try to do your quick breads by hand, and mashing up your bananas with a fork is pretty quick and easy if your bananas are nice and ripe. Okay, there's our bananas all mashed up. Didn't take long at all. 2 things with this recipe that I do that are maybe a little different than what you're used to. Instead of white sugar, I use brown sugar in my banana bread. I think it gives it a nice, warmer, caramelly, golden flavor. A little more rich than just plain white sugar. So I have a cup of brown sugar. It's not packed or anything, it's just loosely measured, so 1 cup. And instead of butter, I used oil. So I have half a cup of just neutral flavored oil, vegetable oil, and that's a little more affordable than butter. And oil tends to give a nice moister texture to your banana bread than butter does. And it also seems to make one of those banana breads that's even better on day 2 or day 3, just so nice and moist. So into the bananas and the sugar with our oil. Oh, and I have a nice heaping teaspoon of vanilla. I don't know if you can heap a teaspoon of vanilla, but I sort of always over measure. Measure with your heart. And I'm stirring this with a fork because if there are any lumps in your brown sugar at all, you can use the back of your fork to just sort of mash them against the side of the bowl and break up any hard lumps of brown sugar. Lastly, for the wet ingredients, we have 2 eggs. So I'm just going to break them into this dish. Take that fork, give those a little whisk just to break them up a bit, and then pour those in with the bananas, brown sugar, and oil. Just give that a good mix so everything is well combined. Oh, and I forgot to say, you want your oven preheating to 325 Fahrenheit. Okay, so our wet ingredients are all mixed together. Next, we're going to return to our dry ingredients. And I'm just going to use my spatula to make a little well in the center of the bowl. And you just want to pour those wet ingredients into the well of the dry ingredients. Scrape all that goodness out of your bowl. Now with gentle folding motions, you just want to go with your spatula around the sides of the bowl and bring all of these ingredients together very gently. You just want to incorporate the dry and the wet together until everything is well incorporated, but you don't want to overmix this. The gentler you are, the moister and more tender your banana bread is going to be. Scrape along the sides, come up from the bottom, and up and over. And as I'm doing this, I'm bringing up the dry ingredients from the bottom of the bowl into the wet. There, that looks pretty good. Now, you can stop right there, put this batter into your pan, and bake it. But I like a few add-ins, so I have a cup of chocolate chips and I have a cup of chopped walnuts. You can put both of these in. You can use just walnuts, you can use just chocolate chips. I'm going to use both. It adds a little bit of sweetness and additional flavor, which we love, and the walnuts are super healthy for you. They have so much healthy fat and fiber, and plus we love the taste of walnuts in our banana bread. So as I said, this is optional. You can just leave this out and you'll have a perfectly delicious, moist and fluffy banana bread, but I'm going to add chocolate chips and walnuts. And just gently fold those in so that they are mixed throughout that batter. So now I have a bread pan. This is a longer bread pan. Most bread pans end about there, and they're a little deeper and shorter. So I'm not going to be baking my banana bread quite as long as what the recipe says. If you have a traditional bread pan, bake this for about 40 to 50 minutes and start checking it, because there's nothing worse than an overbaked banana bread. But this one I think might be done at around the 30-minute mark. Depending on the shape of your bread pan, just try to check the timing earlier than what the recipe says. But if you're using a traditional standard size bread pan, about 40 to 50 minutes should do it. So now just carefully scrape all this nice batter into the pan. I've lined it with some parchment paper. And just use your spatula to smooth out that top. So now you can take off your little clothespins. That's what I use to hold back the parchment paper. And now into the oven. So this is going to bake for, I'm thinking about 35 to 45 minutes, because this is a longer, narrower bread pan. If you're using a standard size pan, as I said before, bake it a little longer, but always check it on the early side so that if your oven runs hot like mine does, it might be done a little sooner for you. So into the oven, 325, and we'll check back in a little bit. Our banana bread has been baking for about 35-36 minutes, and now we should check on it and see how it's doing. So that is looking spectacular. So now there are two ways to check for doneness. You can use the old-fashioned toothpick in the middle, put that in, pull it out, and I'm still getting some raw batter on the toothpick. So let's put that to one side, and let's give this another, I'd say this is going to take maybe 7 minutes, but we're gonna be very careful with it from now on, because this can go from underdone to overbaked very quickly. So let's try another 7 minutes in the oven. Okay, let's try this again. The banana bread has been in there for another 7 minutes. Might not be done yet, but we should check it anyway. Looking good. Okay, we can try the old-fashioned toothpick method. Just poke that in the middle. Try not to lose it, pull it out. So the toothpick came out clean this time, but if you really want to make sure, The toothpick method is fine. I use that for years, but I've more recently gotten into checking my quick breads with a thermometer. I'm just using a meat thermometer. It's nice and clean. And you should get anywhere from 197 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit internally. So let's find a spot to stick this in and just make sure that the temperature gets up to about 197 to 200. If it goes much over 203, 205, you have overbaked it. So we're at 199.9, 200, and it's slowing down. So we're at 200.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That little banana bread is done. So now I'm just going to let this banana bread cool in the pan for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to use the parchment paper as handles and lift this out of the pan onto a rack to finish cooling. Our banana bread has been cooling in the pan for about 10 minutes, and I have a rack ready. But first I'm just going to run my knife around the ends of this pan, because my parchment paper was more like a sling, and just to make sure nothing is stuck on the ends of the pan, I'm going to do that. So hopefully this will just lift right out, and it does. So that's looking very nice, and it's still super hot and very fragile. So we're going to let this cool, and then we can cut into it and give it a taste. So I know it's hard to wait, but I'd give this about a half an hour before attempting to cut into it at all. Banana bread can be a little delicate in the beginning. And one pointer I would say that with banana bread, it's one of those things that is so much better after it sits overnight. Somehow the bananas and the oil and the sugar, it all seems to work together and really moisten and season the loaf. So if you cut it on day one, 30 minutes to an hour after baking it, it's going to be perfectly delicious. But I guarantee if you wait until tomorrow, it's going to be absolutely divine. So if you can wait, hang on. It's time to cut into our banana bread. Let's see how this turned out. It's always a gamble. You wonder, it looks beautiful on the outside, but how's it going to be on the inside? So as usual, when I'm cutting into things, I like to have a couple of weapons. So I have a serrated bread knife, and I also have a sharp chef's knife. So I think I'm going to try with the serrated knife first. I find a serrated knife helps you get through that initial crispy crust without crushing anything. And but a little trial and error. You use what you prefer to cut your banana bread with. So I'm just going to do a gentle sawing motion. It feels very moist as I cut into it. Yeah, look at our beautiful banana bread. It's got a very nice crumb. You can see I put walnuts in mine, and there's some chocolate chips. So make another nice slice. Yes, there we go. How beautiful is that? So we have our beautiful specks of banana throughout, gorgeous walnuts. My chocolate chips are in there, although they seem to have sunken to the bottom a little bit, but have no fear. This is going to taste beautiful and moist and sweet. And because we used brown sugar, it's going to have a lovely caramelized taste. I'll just give this a little cut into thirds. I like the centerpiece first. I'm going to eat all that, but I like the centerpiece. Beautiful. So nice. The banana is just a beautiful flavor throughout. And I love that crunch of the walnuts. And then of course you have the sweet undertone of the brown sugar and the little hit of chocolate chip. So perfect. So good. I need to make a cup of coffee to go with this because this is gorgeous. And this is going to keep on the counter for days. I don't think it's going to stick around that long. It would be great toasted with butter in the morning, a nice after school or mid-afternoon snack with a cup of tea, or just a little snack anytime you feel like a little snack. So I hope you enjoyed making this banana bread with me, my brown sugar banana bread with chocolate chips and walnuts. And if you have a special way to make banana bread in your house, I'd love to hear about it. Please let me know in the comments how you like your banana bread. Do you butter yours? I know a lot of people do. With chocolate chips and walnuts, I don't think you really need to put butter on your banana bread, but if it's toasted in the morning, yeah, a little bit of butter melted in, just perfect. So thanks for hanging out with me in my kitchen. I hope I'll see you here again very soon. And please give me a like if you enjoyed this recipe. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.